welcome back to the channel. Here I have in front of me my original Tmnt NECA figures. When I say original, I mean these were the first ones to come out, part of the new line that's continuing today. It started off with 4 turtles. Each one of them came in a different box with a different villain. I thought that was great. And then NECA outdid themselves again with Bebop and Rocksteady. These are probably my favorite figures of the last couple of years that I've gotten. I just really love these two. They look great. Great addition to the collection. And I thought that was it. I have my NECA Street Scene diorama, and I was very happy with that. They all fit on there. And then more characters coming out. And then more. And then more. And then more. So, what was I to do? I was running out of real estate. So then I really started thinking, okay, I really want to display these figures in the best way. So what could I do? I went ahead and bought a pipe shelf from Lowe's, I believe. I just figured the pipe and the wood shelf went good with the sewer aesthetic, and I put the street scene on top. So I had the street scene on there, and I eventually got the cartoon street scene. So I had the movie turtles on the realistic more looking building, and then the Toon Turtles I put on the animated one. Once more animated characters start coming out, that's when I started to say, okay, they each need their own space. I can use the street scene diorama, but I really wanted to build something for them so that each character would fit in their respective area. So whether it meant fighting on the street, whether it meant being in the sewer lair, in the Technodrome, I really wanted to represent that. So that's what I'm going to kind of take us through on, I would say, part 1 of the TMNT diorama series. I have done a little bit of work with different dioramas for that, and then just play around and show you my setup. I wasn't really filming too much when I went through the process, but I'll try to point out some of the bigger steps that I took in case anyone is curious. You can also just leave some comments below and I'll answer any questions. So with that being said, let's go ahead and see where this line has taken me.
So we'll be doing a lot of voiceover for this video because I really wasn't planning on actually posting a video. So right now I'm just going through some of the products that I bought before I got this project started. I bought these air conditioning valves off of Amazon. They're about 6 inches in diameter. And I bought these cabinet stoppers. So I'm going to hot glue those onto the air duct just to make it look like the sewer cap bolts. I went ahead and hot glued those on. I got this idea from Oe Leo. He was a great help when I was going through this project. When I was able to get all the foam cut, there was some trial and error, so I will say don't underestimate cutting the foam. I will take more video where I do more of a tutorial on how to cut foam, but really it's about going easy, sticking close to your ruler and doing very light cuts and multiple cuts as you go along. So I got everything set up, my 2 separate rooms, and where the holes are going for the air ducts. So once I got everything set up, everything at this point, I put the dots on for the magnets. That'll help keep everything in place. A lot of great diorama builders I see I got that idea from. And then I just started putting figures in for scale. So I just wanted to see how everything looked, especially with that air duct. The figure looks great, looks perfectly in scale. Got the team shot there. So I was really happy with how this was shaping up to begin with. Just getting all 4 of the turtles there, it really grew my confidence. Carving brick, I must say, is really fun. So again, for this being my first diorama, it was very nerve-wracking, but all you need is a ruler and you can cut some brick. Then I went ahead and laid on some spackle, just regular wall spackle. That was to really focus on the exposed concrete areas that you see in the cartoon. So when I'm showing this pointer, that's because that's when you draw the lines in pencil. It is very light, so if you want to score it even deeper, you can use the pointer. I see a lot of people use wood burning tools, which is great. You do want a wood burning tool that has a temperature, because as you can see here, mine only goes from 0 to hot, and it can really burn your foam. So just be careful with that. I think at this point, I really wanted to just make some extra details. I rolled some aluminum foil over the brick, and then I just wanted to spackle in those extra spots. But at this point, we're getting pretty close to the painting area, and that was really helpful. I did buy these straws that are meant to look like pipe. We'll get further into that when we go further in the video, but really, I should have planned it out better, and I'll kind of discuss my do's and don'ts, but we'll get more into that. And then I had my first shot at making furniture. Making a couch was pretty hard, especially with a knife, pretty rudimentary. But in the end, it came out not so bad. I didn't know at this point that there was other measures of foam, so this was only 1 inch. Eventually I learned that there was 1/2 inch, and you can even get foam core for thin pieces. I did the chair, I did the table. I didn't quite make the TV stand yet because I'm waiting if we ever get a Tune accessory pack. So everything was magnetized. I hot glued the magnets in. I did Dremel the holes. There's lots of magnets that you can use. Magnets that I prefer are the ones from Hobby Lobby. They're stronger, and they happen to be the same diameter as the Dremel bit that I have. I do like the magnets from the Dollar Tree. They're just a little bit bigger than the piece that I have, so sometimes I kind of have to eyeball it and just make sure that I'm making the holes big enough for the Dollar Tree magnets. But they're just as good and just as strong. So I did score all the brick. You can see how the lines are a little deeper now. Cutting out those holes was very hard. I did put some edging on the couch to make it look rounder. Hopefully I'll find a better technique when it comes to that. But for the time being, in my first shot, I was pretty excited just to see everything kind of come together. So that was pretty cool. It'll be funny when we get to this coffee table again, because I did score some wood grain in it. I tried to make it look very cartoony, but I had to do this twice, and you'll see why in another segment of this video. So yeah, I think all of the putty was drying. I got the pink putty so that I knew once it was white, it was dry. Sanded it down just so it wasn't so rough. I did apply it with a rubber glove in my fingers, just in small patches where I wanted it. It was really helpful, and I think adds a little extra layer of detail. This is nothing you have to do, but I did make a new turtle diorama for a friend, and the thing I did that I wish I did on this one was I painted before I put the grout on. This way, in case any of it ever falls off, there's paint behind it. So I did correct that when I made a future version of this diorama. Cutting those holes was also pretty hard. That was one of the things that, I wish I had some of the tools, but once it was ready for painting, I couldn't be more happy with the color. It just popped and screamed cartoon to me. The cartoon brick always looked a little more yellow than regular red brick. So these two spray cans, satin brick, and I believe it's ember. But really learning how to work with spray paint and foam, you can do it. You just have to make sure that you're not spraying too close, you're from a safe distance, and you're really just doing quick sprays, quick passes. This way you don't burn the foam. I think some of the acetone in the spray paint burns the foam. And here is an example. This was the first coffee table I made, and I probably doused it with spray paint. I thought it reacted that way because I had this work being done in my garage, and I thought that direct sunlight affected it. But really, it was just because I doused it with too much spray paint. Once everything was done, I put the sewer caps back in, and then I was able to put it all together and just really look at it. Now, here are those pipes again. I did spray paint them. I was happy with the color, but I think my biggest mistake was that I wasn't so happy with the idea of putting holes into the finished painted product. Now, I could have put them in, but really I didn't want to ruin the integrity of the foam. So I still put some on, but not to the extent of what I originally had. I do want to use those straws eventually. I see a lot of diorama builders using them for gutters, but I would plan out my pipe work before I get the project started and before I start painting. Other than that, they are a cool product. Definitely come in handy for any further projects that you would do. And just throwing the furniture in. I was just kind of playing with a paint marker, and I thought it'd be cool to put the lines on the couch to make it look more animated. Kind of got the effect I wanted. If I was to do the furniture again, I'd probably make them a little less bulky. The line idea is cool. I'm not sure if it translated the way that I thought it would. But for now, until I redo this diorama, I just thought that this was a cool touch that I did. So it was just a little creative chance that I did on the spot. Printed out these signs. I put them on cardstock. So really at this point, the only thing I really had to do was Mod Podge them just to make them a little more, make them stronger. And then I would attach them to the walls. I made a mirror frame, and before I said I was only cutting with a knife. And cutting with a knife is really hard when that's your only tool. So cutting a thin piece like that took me a while. As easy as it is, I have some tools now that would be able to do that in a second. But when you're just cutting with a pretty rudimentary knife, I made this table I used foam for the legs, and then I used a coaster for the base. And Hobby Lobby was able to have they had all different kinds of fabrics, but that one looked just like a picnic table or like the tablecloth that they have, so that was perfect. I did use the paint marker to draw some of the grain on the table. Not my favorite part of the diorama, but it's a placeholder until I do go ahead and make something better. And I bought these chairs. I don't think I was ready to start building chairs. So this carpet here was just made out of some craft fabric. Real easy, just some hot glue and cutting the shapes. Again, until I find a better idea. I think it's just a good placeholder. A lot of people are using the metalhead vacuum prop to go with that. So, and then over at Master Splinter's meditation room, I made the tapestry. That's just 2 wooden dowels, a white handkerchief, and some paint pens for the yin yang. And for his divider, I used a paint stirrer that I just cut into 4 pieces and painted the design that I saw on the screen. So very tried to get it as accurate as possible, but I am not a painter, so I think I did my best just kind of getting that floral design on there. And that's it until I could start putting all the stuff on the wall. And at this point, Tapestry's up. I put the pipes in a little bit, and then all the signs and the pictures, they're all attached to the diorama. So at this point, I'm ready to call it complete. I just have to go ahead and seal it with Mod Podge and let it dry. And I think at that point, it's ready for display. And while we're talking about sealing your project, so with Mod Podge, just be real careful. It makes the base sticky with the humidity. I did see another YouTuber named Tech Chucker did a great video of using Minnow Wax. So that's something I haven't tried yet, but I'd definitely like to try that just to not let any paint go on the figure's feet.
And here we are, folks. So the sewer layer is complete. This was my first project ever, my first time working with insulation foam, my first time crafting, and it was really fun. It's very therapeutic. Cutting brick might seem monotonous, but when you get the hang of it, it is really fun. And when you can start seeing that certain painting techniques and certain things make everything look how you want it to, it's very exciting, and it actually makes you want to do more projects. So this is part one of probably three as far as my TMNT dioramas go. But I just love now that I'm able to open up some space and get these figures into a cool scene. So if you can see, I have Splinter and Leonardo. They're in the meditation room. He's helping Leo become a stronger leader. Over here in the dining area, they're all trying to enjoy some pizza, but the little baby pizza monsters are attacking. Metalhead's over here vacuuming because he came with that accessory and it just looks cool. And then the grown pizza monster's coming out of the sewer cap. So overall, very excited of how this came out. Very excited that this was my first project. I definitely got inspired by other YouTubers. There was people that I watched, and it kind of made me get the wheels turning and saying I wanted to do that. So here I am, and I finished this diorama and couldn't be more happy. But yeah, there's a few other projects I'd like to show you, but this one I was definitely excited for. So enjoy.